As much as I try to stay neutral in my videos, there are topics that strike a chord, and small pickup trucks are one of them. To me, they're not just vehicles, they're memories. A time when a tiny Chevy S10 or a Ford Ranger could haul gear, take you on weekend trips, or be customized into something uniquely yours. Today, what's called a small pickup costs over $30,000 and is larger than old F-150s. So what happened? Why did those simple, cheap, incredibly practical trucks disappear? If you've ever driven a Datsun, an old Toyota Hilux, or a classic Dodge Dakota, you know the nostalgia is real. But this isn't just about longing for the past. It's a deep investigation. Who killed the small pickup in America? And is there any hope for its return? Pickup trucks were once crude machines built purely for work. In the early days of motoring, they were essentially motorized wagons, unrefined, uncomfortable, and far from stylish. But then came Henry Ford, and the Model T pickup changed everything. The Model T wasn't just the first pickup for the masses, it brought the idea of truck life into everyday American living. Suddenly, pickups weren't just for farms or factories, they were for errands, outdoor trips, and daily commutes. After World War II, demand surged, especially among working-class families and immigrants. Automakers like Chevrolet, Ford, and Dodge began improving their trucks. Stronger frames, better suspension, more powerful engines. And perhaps most importantly, trucks started to look cool. At the same time, SUVs, originally built on truck platforms, rose to fame as adventure-ready lifestyle vehicles. Trucks and SUVs grew together, shaping a new era where pickups weren't just about hauling, they were about identity and image. This laid the groundwork for a new generation of compact pickups, trucks that were practical yet full of personality. The turning point came in the late 1960s and early 1970s when Japanese automakers like Toyota and Datsun, Nissan, entered the US market with something completely new: compact pickup trucks. Amid the 1973 oil crisis, when gas prices soared, smaller, fuel-efficient vehicles became extremely desirable. Models like the Toyota Hilux and Datsun 620 weren't just efficient. They were affordable, reliable, and refreshingly different from the big, thirsty American trucks. Their massive success forced the Big Three to respond. Ford released the Courier, a rebadged Mazda B series. Chevy imported the Chevy LUV, based on the Isuzu Faster, and Dodge later introduced the Dakota as a homegrown alternative. Over time, compact pickups carved out a loyal following in the US. They were small, practical, easy to drive and customize. Automakers offered a range of options: i4, V6, even V8 engines, regular or extended cabs, air conditioning, cloth seats, radios. These weren't cheap trucks anymore, they had character. The user base was diverse: students, young drivers, DIYers, outdoor lovers, small business owners. Everyone had a reason to love compact pickups. The 1990s to early 2000s were truly the golden era for small trucks. Names like Ford Ranger, Chevy S10, Dodge Dakota, and Mazda B series weren't just popular, they were cultural icons. They were compact, but full of personality. By the 2000s, the US pickup market began to shift. Quietly at first, but profoundly. Trucks were no longer just workhorses. They were becoming status symbols and lifestyle vehicles. Manufacturers realized something. Consumers were willing to pay for comfort, tech, and design in a pickup truck, even if they never used it to haul a single thing. Pickups weren't just found on farms or job sites anymore, they were in office parking lots, shopping centers, and school drop-off lanes. Some people argued trucks are built tougher, so if you use them like a car, they'll last longer than a sedan. Whether or not that logic holds up, it led to a new consumer mindset, buying trucks as personal vehicles. Models like the Ford F-150, Ram 1500, and Chevy Silverado started getting fancy. Trims like Lariat, Denali, and Platinum added huge infotainment screens, leather seats, premium audio systems. Full-size trucks became luxury vehicles in disguise, muscular on the outside, posh on the inside. Meanwhile, compact pickups began to fade away. Buyers were drawn to bigger size, more features, and stronger towing capacity. And since large trucks brought in more profit, automakers shifted focus. Gradually, the Ford Ranger, Chevy S10, Mazda B series, and others either disappeared or came back significantly larger. Today's Ford Maverick is roughly the same size as a 1990s F-150. The idea of a small pickup is practically extinct. What was once a practical, characterful choice has been replaced by oversized, overpriced SUVs with beds, used by people who rarely, if ever, need a truck's actual capabilities. Many believe small pickups disappeared because they couldn't meet modern safety standards. But the truth lies deeper, in a web of technical regulations that are, frankly, backward. And the main culprit is the Environmental Protection Agency. Over the last few decades, the EPA and US fuel economy standards, especially corporate average fuel economy, have evolved in a way that actually makes small vehicles harder to produce than large ones. Sounds crazy, but it's true. Under the new rules, MPG requirements aren't the same for all vehicles. Instead, they're based on footprint, meaning the vehicle's physical size. The bigger the footprint, the lower the required MPG. For example, a full-size pickup like the Ford F-150 can meet its standard with just 19 to 21 MPG. But a compact truck like the old S10 or Ranger would need to hit 35 to 40 MPG to comply. If it falls short, the automaker pays heavy penalties. It's a cruel irony. Smaller, more efficient vehicles are held to higher standards, while gas-guzzling giants get a pass. The result? Automakers avoid making small gas-powered trucks unless they're hybrid or electric. That's why the Ford Maverick, despite being called compact, is larger than old Rangers and only comes with a hybrid or tiny 2.0-liter engine. If Ford made it smaller or gave it a stronger gas engine, it would fail EPA testing. Worse yet, these rules block the import of wildly popular compact trucks from abroad, like the Suzuki Carry, Toyota Townace, or Japan's Kei trucks. They simply don't meet US efficiency or safety benchmarks. Even more absurd, the same EPA standards go easier on large, inefficient vehicles, as long as their footprint is big enough. This encourages automakers to keep making massive SUVs and trucks, which the US market is already oversaturated with. Bitter truth: the EPA, meant to protect the environment, is unintentionally pushing bigger, thirstier vehicles and killing the small truck in the process. If you think automakers are victims of EPA regulations, think again. In many ways, they haven't just complied, they've benefited directly from them. Big American automakers like Ford, GM, and Stellantis, formerly Chrysler, have long known one thing: profit margins on full-size SUVs and pickups are massive. A fully loaded F-150 Platinum brings in 3 to 4 times the profit of a compact truck or economy sedan. So when the EPA adjusted MPG standards based on vehicle footprint, automakers didn't push back. In fact, they quietly cheered. Why? Because it gave them the green light to build larger, pricier, more profitable vehicles. without being forced to invest in improving smaller ones. The result? American consumers have virtually no realistic options in the compact pickup segment. Small trucks are regulated out, while large ones are pampered and marketed as luxury machines, priced at $50,000 to $70,000 or more. Meanwhile, popular, affordable small trucks sold in Asia, South America, and Europe can't be brought to the US because of EPA and safety laws. The domestic market is locked down by policy, and consumers pay the price. Many believe this isn't just about regulation. It's about quiet collusion between automakers and lawmakers, working together to eliminate foreign competition, maintain market control, and maximize profits. And with small pickups pushed out of the game, consumers are left with one choice. If you want a new truck, it has to be big, whether you need it or not. But is that the only way forward? With major automakers walking away from small gas-powered trucks, electrification may be the last open door for compact pickups. EVs aren't bound by traditional MPG rules, and the US government is offering massive incentives: tax credits, R&D support, charging infrastructure. This gives automakers a way to sidestep EPA restrictions if they go electric instead of gas. The Ford Maverick Hybrid proves this point. Smaller than the F-150, powered by a 2.5-liter hybrid, and it clears all emissions hurdles. But it's still not truly small, and it certainly doesn't match the price or character of a classic S10 or Ranger. So if there's any hope for a truly small, simple, fun, affordable pickup, it may come from a bold EV startup or a legacy brand brave enough to break convention. Yet, one big question remains: can an electric truck capture the raw, gritty soul of the classic compact pickup? Or will it just be another lifeless SUV with a bed slapped on the back? The answer's still unclear. But one thing is certain: if compact trucks have any hope of surviving today's regulatory landscape, electrification is their only real path forward. But electrification is merely a legal workaround. It doesn't guarantee a revival of the authentic soul of the compact truck. And if there's any proven formula for bringing a dead segment back to life, it's already been tested with the Mazda Miata. By the late 1980s, the two-seat convertible was practically extinct. No one made them, no one wanted them, and most assumed the segment was history. Then Mazda took a bold risk. They resurrected the classic roadster with the MX-5 Miata. It was small, lightweight, rear-wheel drive, manual, affordable, and fun, without any fancy tech. It didn't just succeed, it redefined an abandoned segment, spawning dedicated fan communities, racing series, and a car culture that's lasted over 30 years. So why not apply that formula to small trucks? Imagine if Ford, GM, or Ram decided to return to their roots. They build a truly compact truck, styled like a 1990s Ranger or first-gen S10, with a fuel-efficient inline-4 manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. No need for touchscreen overload or four-door cabs, just a simple, sub-$20,000 truck that's easy to mod and easy to love. If that happened, it would instantly spark a movement. Young buyers would line up, tuners and builders would jump in, and nostalgic drivers would see their past reborn. We've seen it with the Miata, with the Honda Grom, even with Japan's Kei trucks. When a small, characterful, affordable vehicle arrives at the right time, it doesn't just sell, it becomes a cultural icon. And that's exactly why the story of the small pickup shouldn't be over. Even if the market shifted and these little trucks were sidelined by business strategy, the love for them never really faded. Small pickups didn't disappear, because they stopped being useful. They disappeared due to regulations, market collusion, and profit margins. But if any automaker is brave enough to return to their roots, to build a small, simple, joyful, affordable truck, it could spark a true renaissance. What about you? Have you ever owned or loved a Chevy S10, Ford Ranger, Datsun 620, or a classic Toyota Hilux? Share your story in the comments. And if you want to see compact trucks make a real comeback, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who once loved these simple, soulful machines.